Guys, FTX has recently announced their new payout timeline. They've released 2 dates. The record date is on February 14th, and the distributions begin on March 31st, 2026. You know what? I don't even know if that was good. You should actually just take that off.
That is good. That sounds really good.
Yeah, I don't even know what a record date is. So actually, you just pretend I didn't
let
say
me
that.
explain what those terms mean, and then we're going to introduce friend of the show, Kyle, aka Mr. Purple.
Okay.
Okay, the record date is the date by which they're going to take the snapshot to then make the distribution. So if you are not like KYC verified by the record date, you won't get the distribution on the distribution date.
What do you mean by take a snapshot?
So they're going to like say, okay, we are going to look at what happened on this date. So who's KYC verified, whether a claim has been transferred, all sorts of things that can happen to a claim. Mostly what impacts people is KYC, then distribute. I've never understood why the record date and the distribution date are so far apart. It's like, damn, it's kind of a long time.
Well, so essentially the record date is the cutoff date that they determine who is entitled to receive the next payout.
Yes.
And then the distribution date is when you do receive the next payout. And yeah, there is a bit of a gap between.
And the way these distribution works, just to remind everybody, is that FTX on March 31st is going to look at the screenshot it took on February 15th and transfer the money to either BitGo, Kraken, or Payoneer. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the distribution partners. Whichever you selected, you got to select one. If you didn't select one, did they select one for you? And
no. So if you're in the convenience class, by the way, if you've just left your money there, you're at risk of losing that money. I don't exactly know what the deadline is, but you need to do something. But for instance, if you select the distribution provider after the record date, you're not getting that money.
Oh, okay. So anyone who has not yet selected a distribution partner, go and do that if you are owed money from FTX. If you left money in FTX, you're owed money. Yeah.
I think I just got caught with a glass of champagne in my hand.
Well,
I forgot I was on this thing, and I was like, ooh.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of based. You can drink champagne on this. I don't care.
Based? Because I'm in France, there's a time difference.
Oh, okay. It's different time in France. It is not 9 a.m. over there. So wait, if people haven't selected by chance, where do they go to do so? Like, is that just somewhere in their emails, or is there some website portal?
Yeah, so there's 2 portals. There's the Bahamas portal, if you made the terrible mistake of opting in for the Bahamas. And there's the US portal.
Okay. Well, go on the portal.
Claims.ftx.com for the US portal. And I can't remember what the PwC Bahamas website is. And God forbid you did that.
Seems like an odd choice to make. Also, what's up, Mr. Purple? Sorry, we have not yet introduced you, but this is Mr. Purple.
Friend of the show.
And he's going to chat about what are you going to specifically talk about today?
We're going to debate.
Oh, okay.
I can speak to anything FTX related if you want details. So
okay.
I want to tussle with you. Me and a few buddies, including Mr. Purple, bet on how much the distribution is going to be. Now, I would like to premise this, that I have lost every single bet up to now, and I have upped my game.
Uh-huh.
I have installed a piece of software called Claude Cowork on my machine, and I have run 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations, I'll have you say, on how much we're going to get. And Claude has like given me menu of outcomes. So
I'm curious about this. Well, and just to be clear, in case you guys didn't hear, the distribution begins on March 31st. So just to make that clear. And then now are we ready to talk about your expected?
How much?
How much?
Start, Kyle.
Okay. So I am taking the under. In my opinion, I set a 10.5 as the over-under. and I'll give you the kind of background and reason. So if you look at the last distribution, right, they have a lot of catch-up distribution. So between March 31st and September 30th of last year, they did reduce the claims reserve. I think they reduced it, if I remember the exact number, 1.9 billion, and they distributed 1.6. But everyone was disappointed when I think it was like, what, 5.86% that they distributed to anyone who had already received the claim. So you basically went from 72% to 78% and change. And the reason is because everyone who became accepted went from not just getting, zero, they got 78 cents as a catch-up. So that took a lot of the distribution. If you look at the difference in accepted claims from that, it was like 400 something million that became allowed. This time around, from the second disputed claims reserve to this one, over $1 billion of claims have been allowed. So even if they distribute over $2 billion, I'm guessing that more than $1 billion of that is going to be catch-up. So you're going to have like all of those people have to get 78 point, what, 2 or 5, whatever the exact number is.
78.5. 78.49 to be precise.
Right. So if you're in that bucket, that's going to take probably half of the distribution, even at $2 billion, just to catch up. So then you got to say, okay, well, what's left, right? You have class 6, which is non-customer claims, and there was, I think, 200 million of those allowed. Well, the last time around, those got 95%. So now you got 95% of 200 mil plus anything extra. So I think you're at like 1.2 billion roughly of catch-up claims before they can even start distributing on top of whatever they had. So if you're at 78% today, I think the chance of getting above 10% is pretty low, because ultimately, even though they reduced the reserve by 2.2 billion, last time they released less than 300 million than what they reserved. So let's assume they do release 2 billion. You're really only talking about $900 million that can then go back into the pot to deliver to above 50K claims. And I'm not even counting what, the amount of claims that are sub 50K was not a small number, but it wasn't a crazy number. It was like 66 mil of claims.
Can I ask you a question? Anything, because people are going to ask, anything new on the disputed jurisdictions?
No. So the thing that the way I would categorize that like motion or that process is that it was a win for creditors and a loss at the same time. Ultimately, the judge, Judge Owens was a little bit skeptical of that like proposed process. She pushed back on certain things, like even mentioning like, well, there was creditors in another case from Iran that got paid, and clearly that's like, of all of the countries in the world to get a payment from the U.S., that's probably the most difficult one, maybe second to North Korea. So she was skeptical, which meant that they had to withdraw that motion. They also mentioned in their back and forth with the judge that it was not yet ripe, which means it's too early to deal with this in the case. Unfortunately for creditors, that means this issue can just sit out there for longer. There's no impetus to like solve it. And it also means they might take it, instead of doing this like omnibus type of thing of like, oh, we're going to do this for all these countries. They may just do it individually. And that to some degree is worse for creditors, because like they could pick one of the smaller countries that they have on their disputed list, like say Colombia. Not a ton of creditors from Colombia, not none. But if they take on China first, that's the one where they got the biggest fight, because there's 400 and something million dollars of creditor, or almost 400 million of creditors in China, and they're clearly trying to put up a fight. So they might try to win with the easier ones where no one's going to put up a fight, and then use that as precedent. Say, oh, well, Judge Owens, we have to restrict Iran. We have to restrict, all these other countries.
Okay, shall I give you my over and under? There's nothing new on the disputed creditors, on the disputed jurisdictions.
I don't think
right?
we're going to see something on the disputed creditors. Maybe not even in 2026, but I think best case,
so
second half.
So Kyle used his brain. Okay. I used TPUs. No. They're not TPUs. I think they're GPUs. Anyway, Claude is powered by GPUs.
You paid a lot of tokens.
I paid for a lot of tokens. I have a Max subscription, and after I didn't even do, I could have done 10 million Monte Carlo simulations. Okay, uh, basically because this is like a multivariate situation, you can simulate all the outcomes and create a probability distribution and say, well, here's the most likely outcome. Now, I don't know if Kyle is smarter than the AI overlord, but the AI overlord said between 16 and 18% distribution.
Wow. So the overlord is more bullish for creditors.
The overlord is a lot more bullish.
Wow.
I don't know what to tell you guys. I just fed it all the info. I did none of the thinking.
He used his brain.
If I win this bet, Kyle owes me $20.
This is actually quite fun. I'm excited to see what happens after March 31st. I'm just excited to see who wins.
We'll find out 2 weeks before then, roughly.
Okay.
Look, if I win, I'm going to be doubly happy because I'm going to get paid out in a lot of claims. So
yeah. Well, we got a lot of time till then, though. That's March 31st. Oh, God, there's so much time before that. But
I know. And I'm buying more claims in between then. Unfortunately,
we find more claims.
Yeah. So right now, the claims that I'm buying.
Hey, it's me, Tiff. And in case you've never heard of me before, I've been independently covering fraud and bankruptcies in the crypto space. Because of this, I know a lot of people who follow me or might recognize me were once customers of FTX. Well, that's where FTX Creditor comes in. FTX Creditor will buy your FTX bankruptcy claim and pay you immediately in USDC. FTX Creditor has actually bought more FTX claims than all of the other claims buyers combined. FTX Creditor even buys small claims as low as $1,800, all the way up to claims as large as $10 million. So if you're interested in selling your FTX claim for immediate liquidity or in selling your Voyager, BlockFi, or Celsius stub, you can go to ftxcreditor.com or contact them on Telegram at @FTXCreditor or on X at @FTXCreditor_com.
The claims that I'm buying are mostly people who are like not got everything in line to get their distribution and who are like, fuck this. We're very much in the game of helping those guys. So
like they're just sick of following up with all this stuff. And
yeah, they're right. I mean, I'm kind of sick of it, to be honest.
Me too. It's been years.
It's been a long time.
It's a long time.
I don't think there's anything else for us to blabber about. I mean, This was it. This is the bet.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, anytime you're not with your baby and you have time, I'm always happy to chat. And it's nice to see you, Mr. Purple. Been a long time.
If you want a detailed analysis, Mr. Purple's your guy. If you want a guy that put everything into a chat bot, I'm your man.
Well, I mean, I guess the only other things happening related to this that I'll maybe make a separate video on, unless you want to come back and talk about it later. But I think Caroline Ellison was moved out of prison, or it had last I read, she had plans to be moved out of prison. I know from talking to SBF in email that he's getting moved as well sometime soon. So I don't know, but apparently Caroline, he's just moving prisons. I think Caroline Ellison is just being released from prison really early.
Yeah,
so
that prison is actually kind of in my backyard because I'm in SoCal, and it's so old and hasn't been invested in its infrastructure that they're basically going to close that entire prison.
Do you mean FCI Terminal Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Sam was saying. They're shutting down his entire prison. Sorry.
The warden basically did the equivalent of saying, "Hey, we have to abandon this prison. It's not a safe working environment.
Yeah.
Even less safe environment for the inmates." But I mean, it's a prison that's right on the water in San Pedro, right by Long Beach, in California. Mm-hmm. So when you have salt air from the ocean just hitting a giant concrete and metal facility, all it does is just rust over the last, I don't know how long.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. So yeah, exactly. So apparently they're shutting down SBF's entire prison. So he will be moved. I don't know if I'm supposed to say where he's probably getting moved, but yeah, rough. We'll see if I can ever visit him.
This is, by the way, I got to go after this, but this is day 150 of me realizing that I should have never started this claim business and I should have put all my money into Bitcoin.
Well, the Bitcoin's down a little bit now.
Dude, 100?
Bro,
you just realized that less than 6 months ago?
Yeah, it was a creditor who emailed me and he was like, "Thank you so much. Like, I fucking crushed it." And I just looked at myself in the mirror like Pablo Escobar by myself, next to the swings, like, what have I done?
Okay, you know what though, Louis? I feel like that could be said about literally any business. Like not only your business, but probably any business that anyone put any money into. They probably could have put their money into Bitcoin and made a much higher
The
return.
worst thing for me is that I have quite a few Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and I basically am selling Bitcoin to do other things, and it's like,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Why?
Yeah.
I should
That
just
makes
be
sense.
gardening. I
Yeah,
should
you
garden
should have
and
bought
check
Bitcoin.
back in 10 years.
Yeah, you'd be having babies, gardening. Instead, you're dealing with this bullshit. So,
I know. I know.
aw,
Um,
that's rough.
yeah,
That's rough. I'm sorry,
I
Lou.
know. It's all good.
But
All
you're in too
right.
deep.
All
Okay.
righty. Well,
Well, I'll
I'm
talk to
stuck
you soon.
now.
Let me know if you want to do another video this month. If not, I'll do a video on
Yes.
Carolina soon. But okay, good to see you, Mr. Purple. Bye, Louie. Congrats on the
Kyle,
kid.
Tiff, thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.